First Contact Betrayal. The Galactic Union's grand reception hall shimmered with bioluminescent light, casting rainbow patterns across the assembled representatives of 37 spacefaring civilizations. Ambassador Elena Chen stood before them, the first official human diplomat to address the Union's High Council. Her military posture betrayed her background as a former commander in Earth's United Defense Force, despite the elegant diplomatic attire she now wore. Distinguished representatives of the Galactic Union, Elena began, her voice clear and steady, despite the dozens of alien eyes focused intently on her. Humanity extends its hand in friendship and gratitude for this audience. After decades of listening to your transmissions and preparing ourselves for this moment, we are honored to finally stand among the stars as potential allies. High Chancellor Vrax, a towering insectoid whose iridescent carapace reflected the hall's ambient light, clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. His translator rendered his response in perfect English, a courtesy that Elena noted but did not comment on. Ambassador Chen, your species has achieved faster-than-light travel merely 73 years after splitting the atom. Such rapid technological advancement is concerning to many members of this council. Elena had been briefed to expect this response. Necessity drives innovation, Chancellor. When we detected your transmissions 50 years ago, Earth united in purpose to reach the stars. We saw what was possible and refused to remain earthbound. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. A gelatinous being pulsed with amber light before speaking. Yet your planet remains politically fragmented. Most species achieve unification before reaching the stars. With respect, Councillor Jules, our diversity is our strength, Elena countered. Multiple governance systems create competitive innovation that has accelerated our progress. The council members exchanged glances loaded with meaning that Elena's neural translator struggled to interpret. Chancellor Vrax's carapace darkened to a deep crimson. Ambassador Chen, the Union has reviewed your species' historical transmissions. We've witnessed your global conflicts, your environmental negligence, your cultural fascination with violence and conquest. Tell us, how many sentient species evolved on Earth alongside humans? The question caught Elena off guard, though she maintained her diplomatic composure. None, Chancellor. Humans are the only technologically advanced species from our world. The chamber erupted with clicking, hissing, and electronic tones, the sound of dozens of aliens communicating their alarm. So you eliminated all competition, stated a crystalline entity, its facets flashing with accusatory light. No, that's not. Elena began. You evolved alone because you destroyed any species that might have challenged you, interrupted a fluid form entity suspended in a hovering containment field, just as you now seek to infiltrate our union. Elena frowned. There's been a misunderstanding. Earth's evolutionary path simply didn't produce multiple sentient species capable of technological advancement. A convenient narrative. Chancellor Vrax clicked. Yet your entertainment broadcasts are saturated with scenarios of alien invasions. Your military fiction obsesses over conquest and domination of other worlds. Your first message to the stars was a military radar pulse. Fiction isn't reality, Chancellor, Elena said firmly. And that radar pulse was simply early technology, not a declaration of. The first act of an emerging predator species is to assess potential threats, interrupted a quadrupedal delegate whose name Elena couldn't recall. You've exposed yourselves, humans. Elena's neural implant flashed warning indicators across her vision. The environmental systems in the chamber were changing. Subtle shifts in atmospheric composition, electromagnetic fields activating around the human delegation platform. Chancellor, delegates, please, she urged. We came in peace. Let's not allow cultural misunderstandings to. The protocols of preservation are clear, Chancellor Vrax announced, rising to his full 4-meter height. When a potentially invasive predator species is identified, containment is mandatory. The floor beneath Elena and her 4 accompanying officers began to glow with alarming intensity. Major Reyes, her security chief, moved protectively closer as his implants registered increasing radiation levels. This is a violation of diplomatic protocol, Belina stated firmly. We came unarmed as requested. Our ship maintains position at the designated coordinates. A predator is most dangerous when it disguises itself as prey, Chancellor Vrax replied. The Union has encountered species like yours before. The Viridians smiled while they consumed 3 systems. The Korvax brought gifts that contained bioweapons. We will not be deceived again. The platform beneath the humans intensified its glow. Major Rise collapsed first, blood seeping from his ears. Whatever you believe about us is wrong, Elena insisted, maintaining her composure even as she felt her skin beginning to blister. Earth seeks peaceful coexistence. Your ship has just launched what you call escape pods. Vrax noted. More deception, more aggression. Standard protocol when communications are disrupted. Elena explained through gritted teeth. Please power down these fields before this becomes something neither of us wants. The containment has already begun, Ambassador. Your species' threat assessment indicates a 97.4% probability of exhibiting an evolutionary domination pattern. The Union acts preventively. As the radiation intensified, Dr. Nakamura, the delegation's xenobiologist, attempted to shield the communications officer while shouting medical terminology at the council. This is murder, Elena gasped, falling to one knee as her vision began to blur. With trembling fingers, she activated the emergency transmitter embedded in her palm, a final resort that Earth's leadership had insisted upon despite her objections that it would signal mistrust. The tiny quantum entanglement device needed only 1 drop of her blood to activate. As Elena collapsed fully onto this superheated platform, she whispered, Protocol Lazarus. Initiate silent response. Her last conscious thought before darkness claimed her was of Earth's preparedness for this exact scenario, and what would come next. Admiral James Chen stared at the holographic display in Earth Defense Command's underground headquarters, his face a mask of controlled fury as he watched his sister's vitals flatline. They killed them all, he stated flatly. General Santos, commanding officer of the Solar System Defense Fleet, nodded grimly. Ambassador Chen activated the Lazarus Protocol before she died. We have confirmation that the Galactic Union has initiated what they call a containment procedure. 3 Union battlecruisers have entered the Sol system and are deploying quarantine beacons. Admiral Chen's jaw tightened. They expect us to be helpless, primitive, unprepared. He turned to face the assembled military leadership of Earth's combined forces. Activate Operation Silent Thunder. All stealth platforms to combat readiness. Deploy the Phantom Fleet. Throughout the solar system, humanity's true technological capabilities began to emerge from hiding. Orbital platforms disguised as communication satellites discarded their benign outer shells, revealing advanced weapon systems. Bases hidden within Mars' polar ice caps and beneath the clouds of Venus powered up. Deep in the asteroid belt and among the moons of Jupiter, shipyards that had never been detectable to Union scanners went to full production. For 50 years, since first detecting alien transmissions, humanity had prepared for 2 possibilities: peaceful contact or existential threat. They had hoped for the former while preparing ruthlessly for the latter. Transmission from the Union flagship, announced the communications officer. The view screen displayed Chancellor Vrax's insectoid features. People of Earth, your delegation has been neutralized for the safety of the galactic community. Your planet is now under quarantine. Any attempt to break this quarantine will result in immediate planetary sterilization. This is not negotiable. Admiral Chen stepped forward. Chancellor Vrax, this is Admiral James Chen of Earth Defense Command. You've murdered our diplomatic delegation, including my sister. You've violated every principle of peaceful contact. And now you threaten our world. He paused, allowing his words to register. You mistook our restraint for weakness, our peaceful overture for vulnerability. Your primitive weapons cannot penetrate Union shields. Vrax clicked dismissively. Accept your containment with dignity. Admiral Chen smiled thinly. We never showed you our weapons, Chancellor. Throughout the solar system, hundreds of stealth vessels shimmered into visibility as they deactivated their quantum camouflage. The Union ships suddenly found themselves surrounded. Humanity has been preparing for this day for 50 years. Admiral Chen continued. We hoped for peace but planned for betrayal. You should have taken our hand in friendship. Chancellor Vrax's compound eyes widened as his sensors registered the massive fleet that had seemingly materialized from nowhere. Impossible. Your technological level cannot. You analyzed our public broadcasts and assumed you knew everything about us. Chen interrupted. A critical mistake. While we sent a peaceful delegation to your union, we kept our teeth hidden. Now you've seen what happens when humanity extends a hand, and you choose to bite it. Chen turned to his weapons officer. Target their propulsion systems. Disable, don't destroy. We're not like them. As the Earth fleet opened fire with weapons far beyond what the Union had believed possible, Chen watched the shock register on the Chancellor's alien features. You thought we'd stay silent as you threatened our extinction, he said quietly. Now you'll learn why that was your final mistake. The silent vengeance. The Galactic Union flagship Eternal Harmony listed heavily to starboard, its once pristine hull now scorched by precision strikes from Earth's primitive weapons. On the bridge, Chancellor Vrax frantically coordinated with his remaining ships as the human fleet systematically disabled their propulsion and weapons systems without destroying a single vessel. How is this possible? Demanded Science Director Krell, her tentacles twisting in agitation. Their technological development was assessed at barely pre-Union standard. They deceived us. Vrax clicked, mandibles chattering with stress. They showed us only what they wanted us to see. On his command screen, Admiral James Chen's face appeared again. Chancellor, your fleet has been neutralized. You have two options. Surrender and face Earth's justice for the murder of our diplomats, or force us to board your vessels. I strongly recommend the first option. Vrax's compound eyes darkened with rage. You reveal yourselves as the predators we knew you to be. The full might of the Union will descend upon your world for this treachery. Chen's expression remained impassive. We're not the ones who committed murder under the guise of diplomacy, Chancellor. As for the Union's full might, he gestured to someone off-screen. Perhaps you should check on your homeworlds. With growing horror, Vrax accessed the quantum communications network, only to find silence where 37 civilizations should have been reporting. One by one, reports began filtering in, not of destruction, but of precision military operations that had systematically disabled planetary defenses across the Union. Impossible, he whispered. Your species is confined to one system. Again, you assumed too much, Chen replied. While we sent a small delegation to your council, we dispatched stealth vessels to every Union homeworld. Had you welcomed us in peace, they would have revealed themselves as additional diplomatic missions. Instead, they were forced to become forward military assets. Vrax slumped in his command chair. You've conquered the entire Union in a single day. Not conquered, Chen corrected firmly. Neutralized. There's a difference that your council failed to appreciate. We don't seek domination, just the security to exist without threat of extinction. 3 days later, aboard the commandeered Union headquarters station, Admiral Chen faced the assembled representatives of the 37 Union species. Most displayed signs of fear, some showed grudging respect. Your Union attempted to execute our diplomats and quarantine our world based on prejudice and misunderstanding, Chen began. By any measure, we would be justified in dismantling your coalition entirely. Murmurs of alarm rippled through the alien delegates. But that is not humanity's way, Chen continued. Despite what you believed about us, we don't seek the extinction or subjugation of other sentient beings. We want only what we initially requested: peaceful coexistence and fair consideration as a sovereign civilization. He activated a holographic display showing the Union's charter. Your own founding principles speak of diversity, mutual respect, and the advancement of all sentient life. Yet you abandoned these principles when faced with a species different from your own. The irony should not be lost on any of you. A crystalline entity, the same one who had accused humanity of eliminating competition, chimed softly before speaking. How can we trust that your kind won't eventually seek dominance? Your military capabilities clearly surpass our combined forces. Because we could have destroyed you already and chose not to, Chen answered simply. Because my sister's last act before your radiation killed her was to activate a protocol designed to minimize casualties on both sides. He stepped down from the podium and walked among the delegates, meeting alien gazes directly. Humanity has spent 50 years studying your cultures, languages, and technologies. We know you better than you know yourselves. Had we wished to conquer, we would have done so without warning. Reaching the center of the chamber, Chen activated another hologram, this one showing Earth and its diverse ecosystems and cultures. We are not perfect. Our history has dark chapters of conflict and exploitation. But we've learned from them. We value diversity because we've seen how it strengthens us. We innovate because we've had to overcome limitations. We prepare for the worst while hoping for the best because our survival has never been guaranteed. He looked around the chamber, meeting the gaze of each representative. Today, I offer you a choice. We can dismantle the Union and leave each species to face the universe alone. Or we can build something better together. A true coalition of equals based on mutual respect rather than fear and prejudice. Chancellor Vrax, now stripped of his authority but permitted to represent his species, stepped forward. And if we refuse your generous offer? Chen's expression hardened. Then you'll discover that what you've seen of humanity's capabilities thus far has been only a fraction of what we can do. The stars themselves would burn before we allowed another attempt at our extinction. Silence filled the chamber as the delegates considered his words. There is another option, came a melodious voice from the back. A previously silent delegate stepped forward. An ancient species known for their wisdom, rather than their military might. Perhaps it is time for new leadership in the Union, one that embodies the principles we claim to uphold. Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. Chen nodded. Earth has no desire to rule the Union. We seek only a seat at the table, one earned through merit rather than conquest. Yet you have effectively conquered us. Vrax clicked bitterly. No, Chen corrected. We defended ourselves and prevented further aggression. There's a crucial difference, one your council failed to understand. Humanity doesn't seek subjects or servants. We want allies and equals. He turned to address the entire assembly again. We'll withdraw our forces from your worlds once new protocols are established to prevent similar containment attempts against emerging civilizations. The Union can continue, reformed, and strengthened by this experience. As the delegates began to discuss among themselves, Chen stepped away to a private communication station where a quantum link connected him to Earth's Defense Command. They're considering our terms, he reported to the gathered leaders of humanity. And if they refuse? Asked General Santos. Chen's expression remained grim but determined. Then they'll learn why it was a mistake to murder diplomats from a species that has spent its entire evolutionary history preparing for threats. They thought we'd stay silent as they moved to eradicate us. Now the galaxy burns with the light of a new reality, one where humanity will never again be underestimated. The quantum link closed, and Admiral Chen returned to the chamber where the future of interstellar relations would be decided. Behind him, Earth's fleet maintained its vigilant watch, a silent reminder that humanity had emerged onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors, but as survivors who refused to be victims. In the vacuum of space surrounding the station, the disabled Union ships drifted alongside the advanced human vessels, a stark visual metaphor for how quickly the balance of power had shifted. The galaxy would never be the same again. Humanity had arrived, and the stars themselves took notice.